right, welcome to our final session of the Apprentice Level 2, Squaring the Circle. Squaring the circle was a problem proposed by ancient geometers. According to Wikipedia, squaring the circle is the challenge of constructing a square with the same area as a given circle by using only a finite number of steps with compass and straight edge. Whether or not this is possible depends, of course, on what tools you allow yourself. Plato insisted that the problem be solved with straight edge and compass only. In 1882, it was proved that pi is transcendental and that the construction was impossible with only straight edge and compass. So now the expression is a metaphor for trying to do the impossible. The term was used as a symbol in alchemy as well, particularly in the 17th century. Circles often represent the spiritual because they are infinite. Squares are often symbols of the material. So squaring the circle can mean to make the intangible tangible. And this is the meaning that we'll explore further in this session. As it relates to trading, using geometry on a trading chart and programming it into a trading system is very difficult, if not impossible. So what we're going to do, we're going to square the circle. We're going to program the unprogrammable. If you read my Gartley Trading Method book, you might be thinking, what's going on? Ross, I thought you're against using standalone trading systems. Well, my philosophy on this subject has changed, and I'll tell you why. So why the change of heart? Well, after teaching trading for over 10 years, I noticed that the biggest roadblock to trading success is not knowledge. There's lots of people out there taking every course imaginable and reading every book and watching every video. But there's something that's stopping them. They don't stop that cycle, and I talked about it in the very first neophyte level 0 part of this course. It's not about knowledge, but it's about application. So why don't students apply the knowledge? Where did these students fall down? One thing: lack of a written trading plan. But even with a written trading plan, there's often a lot of room for interpretation. Or the person doesn't have the discipline to execute the plan that he's just written down. These are the primary reasons that I'm now an advocate of quantitative trading. The great thing about a trading algorithm is that it doesn't have a lot of wiggle room, nor is it really open for interpretation. It creates a trading signal, or it does not. Is there discretion? None. And discretion is what often paralyzes many rookie traders, standing there or sitting there looking at the chart, wondering whether or not they should take the trade. So let's remove the obstacle. And rather than creating a written trading plan, let's take it a step further. Let's write a trading algorithm. The algorithm is simply a very detailed trading plan. But Ross, I can't write computer code. That's okay. We're here to help, and we'll help you find someone that can assist you in doing that. The good news about this is that there's no more room for discretion. There's no more wiggle room. All calculations that make up the actual trade setup are performed accurately and identically each time the trade conditions are satisfied. So a lot of us are going to have to move from what's known as discretionary trading to 100% automated trading. It sounds like a lot of work, and yes, it is. But the good news is that most traders that utilize strategy automation enjoy a significant reduction in stress. Now, wouldn't that be nice? I think most of us would like to enjoy a little less stress in our lives, especially in regard to trading. And how about time? Is that worth something to you? That would be nice if we could save some time too, right? This might sound a little pie in the sky right now for you, but here's a little inspiration to get you to commit to this. I want you to think about James Simons. I want you to be the next James Simons. James started trading an algorithm for his own account. He eventually started his own trading firm. And eventually he raised a whole bunch of capital, $23 billion in assets under management. Since 1989, his medallion fund has averaged 35% annual rate of return after fees. And his fees, a management fee of 5% and a profit participation of 44%. That is a very high number, and that rate of return is after these high fees. So netting it all out, guess what his paycheck looks like every year? It's about $5 billion a year. Now, did this happen overnight? Of course not. It required a ton of work, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it is simply a few lines of computer code that is generating such a significant amount of money in this man's life. So what do we need to do to duplicate these types of results of James Simons? Well, there's 4 steps here, and we're going to go through them one at a time. Step number 1, we're going to build. Step 2, test. Step 3, trade. And step 4, monitor. There's all kinds of different names to describe each one of these steps, but we're just going to boil it down really simple for you here in this quick session to give you an overview of quantitative trading and systematic trading. So step number 1, build. Building your trading system will take most of your time. It is your foundation. It's like building a home. Do you want to build your dream home, or do you want to build a shack that's going to fall apart pretty quick here? I'm sure that you want to use the best materials for your foundation when it comes to your dream home, and likewise with the trading system. Don't be cheap, don't use shortcuts, and use the best materials. This is where you got to be really anal, because it will come back and bite you. If you're a programmer, great. If you're not, then you can either start taking some courses or you can hire a programmer. Before you start shopping around for a programmer, you're going to have to find one that you trust, sign the non-disclosure agreement. You'll have to create that, and you'll need to write out everything about your algorithm: the setup, the entry, the exits, the multiple lots, the money management, which markets, what platform. All these different details in excruciating pain have to be written out for the programmer. This is going to end up looking like code in a computer, and like I mentioned, there's no wiggle room or discretion. If there is, your programmer is going to come back and ask for further clarification, and that's okay. It is going to happen. If you're having some trouble writing it out word for word, that's okay. You can also use some software to allow you to record some screenshots of your charts, and you can explain on a chart what you're trying to achieve, and just record the movements of your mouse on the chart explaining what you're trying to do, and you can capture that and give that to your programmer, and that can help them as well. You might be thinking, Ross, just give me your code. I just want to make some money. Well, for the record, I will not be giving you my personal code that I trade with. However, if it is your preference for me to manage your money without me disclosing my personal code, that's a different deal. However, if you want to develop your own personal trading system, this course teaches you the building blocks of the code that I personally use. And this is not a cop-out. You cannot purchase trading success. It's important that this system is your own, otherwise you'll stop using it. It's important that your trading system matches your personal trading style. And if it doesn't, when you go into a drawdown, and yes, that will happen, guess what's going to happen then? You will quit using that trading system. You're not going to be as effective if you don't believe in the basic theory behind your system. Everyone has his or her own trading style. Even if you've never placed a trade in your life, you know your risk tolerance. You know how often you want to trade. You know which markets you understand, etc. So designing your automated strategy around your personal trading style will make it much easier to actually trade the system after it's completed and tested. You've built your system, now it's time to move on to step 2, testing it. Once again, this can consume a lot of your time, but this is time well spent. And it's like anything in life, you can either pay now or you can pay later. With system development, you want to pay now because right now it's a lot less expensive. This is just your time involved. Later on, if you have capital at risk in the markets and things go sideways, it can get really expensive. The advantage of strategy automation is the ability to accurately backtest any program trading system. Ideally, we should have indicators built as well and displayed on our chart, and these should line up with our system-generated signals to confirm that we aren't getting any false signals. So we want to see the collusion between the two of these things, the indicator and also the system signals. So for an example, if we see a perfect bullish 52 with the quad tip touching the 52-degree angle perfectly with our indicators, hopefully we see a little arrow generated there that says buy or sell from our trading system. And if that's not happening, we know there's a problem. So the great thing about this now is that we can run the code against historical data and see what you get. What kind of reports do you have? How many winners versus losers? What's your overall profitability on an annual basis? What's your biggest drawdown? What's your Sharpe ratio? Etc., etc. So all these different metrics will have a bearing on how we build our system. And it's really important that we look seriously and realistically at these reports. Now, when you look at these reports, I think it's good to remember George Soros' quote. He said, "It's not whether you're right or wrong that's important, but how much money you can make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong." Your initial reports might not be as spectacular as you had hoped for, so that would be a good time for you to tweak your system to suit your objectives. After you've done that, it's time for optimization. Optimization can be either your best friend, if used properly, to fine-tune your system, or it can be your worst enemy if used improperly, because what you can do is create a curve-fitted system that has little or no chance of success in the real world. And after we've optimized our code, then it's time to test it real time. We're not going to use money yet, but we'll use what's called forward testing. You can also call forward testing paper trading. We're going to run the code on real-time data moving forward in real time without putting any money at risk, and we're going to see what the results are that are generated from this forward testing and compare those with the historical testing and see if these are at least close. We don't want to do the curve fitting thing where, like I mentioned, it doesn't actually work in the real world. So if you're satisfied with the forward testing, we're ready to move on to step number 3, trade. Trading, finally, the fun part. Actually, if you've done your job properly with steps 1 and 2, step 3 is going to be almost a non-event. At first, when you set up a live trading account for auto execution, make sure that at least initially you have a screen that pops up and says, do you really want to do this when there's a signal generated? Have a quick look, and if everything looks acceptable, hit the OK button. And after you've hit the OK button a few times and you feel really comfortable with the system, you can turn off that confirmation screen so that it can go into auto execution without your intervention. Often the most difficult part of building a system and making it work for you is having the confidence to turn it on and allow it to actually trade. After all, when you think about it, trading is basically a head game. It's often stated that 75% of trading is psychological. So many are not initially comfortable with this arrangement and immediately begin moving stops, aborting entries, exiting trades too early, and breaking the rules. They've carefully designed an automated strategy and they start getting involved in changing things. Remember, you never get smarter during a trade. Those are words to live by. Allow the system to do the work for you. Or as Jesse Livermore said, after spending many years in Wall Street and after making and losing millions of dollars, I want to tell you this. It never was my thinking that made the big money for me. It always was my sitting. So after you've learned how to sit, Livermore style, then you're ready to move on to step 4, which is monitoring your trades. Maybe you've heard some market educators tell you that there's these systems that you can set and forget. Boy, I wish that was true. But if you really meditate on Murphy's Law, you might want to really think deeply about step number 4, monitoring your system. One of the great things about fully automated trading is the speed of execution of your trading strategies. This will help you. It's not to alleviate you from the normal responsibilities that accompany any trading activity. Automated trading does not mean unattended trading. You can have substantial amounts of capital at risk at any given moment with your trading approach. And the serious trader will find it advantageous to closely monitor things like internet connections, computer performance, accuracy of entries and exit throughout the trading period. Whether the orders have been rejected, maybe they've been canceled, maybe there's a failure on a limit order, there can be errors in data, etc. Auto trading is a complex process from a technical point of view, and like all electronic communications, the process is subject to occasional problems. The results of the trades being processed will also provide you with valuable feedback for any additional modifications that you might choose to implement in a future release of your new Holy Grail trading algorithm. So now let's review our final Apprentice Level 2 session that we've covered off here today. So building a profitable trading system based on geometry is very difficult, and it does take a lot of time, but it is not impossible. You can learn how to square the circle. We looked at quantitative systems. The reason you want to build a quantitative system is because it's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, and it's going to save you a lot of stress. Quantitative systems remove the biggest obstacle of your trading success, you. And once we've got that obstacle out of the way, then we can take the time, and it's going to take a lot of time, to build, test, trade, and monitor not my trading system, but your trading system. I've given you the building blocks. Now it's time to apply the knowledge that you've taken to become a master of market geometry. And how can you achieve that result? You can do it on your own, but if you want some further help, some further guidance on this topic, then I'd suggest that you sign up for the Geometric Trading Course Master Level 3. The Master Level 3 is a live online course where you'll work one-on-one with myself and an expert programmer to help you build your own trading system with auto execution. It's a live, one-on-one, interactive course that is custom tailored just for you. Features include live screen sharing, video conferencing, and working one-on-one with an expert computer programmer to make your dreams a reality. This course is truly one of a kind. And to find out more about what's included in the Master Level 3 course, check out the Apprentice page of the Geometric Trading website for further details. So are you ready? Then sign up today at geometrictrading.com and join me live for the Geometric Trading course Master Level 3. Thanks for taking the time to watch these videos, and I hope you enjoyed them, and I look forward to personally meeting you at the Geometric Trading course Master Level 3.